Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Welcome to the next evolution of people on the internet talking about retro games. We're now in 1981. Welcome. Let's go back to 1981. We're now playing every video game released at some point in 1981 in alphabetical order. And we last played Escape from Tram, or Tram. And we played the three versions, the TRS-80, the Atari home computer, and the Apple II version. And now let's see what our next game is. We're now checking out Fact Track for MS-DOS or IBM PCs. I don't even know what Fact Track is, but we do have the box, which most of the IBM games or any software, they all look the same. Whether it's games or software, they always come that's all we get, I guess, for the front of the box. And then for manual, we have a manual for this one. Okay, Fact Track. Even the manual looks like it's just business software. So is this even a game? Let's scroll through the warranty and let's see what the manual has for us. It is, oh, there we go. What is Fact Track? Fact Track program is a personal computer program designed to help students master the arithmetic facts. Since the program is organized by levels of difficulty, it's not a childish program. It can be used with older children and adults who need fact practice. Well, then we couldn't classify this really as an early childhood game, but it is definitely educational for an IBM PC. So let's just pop in and play a sec of Fact Track. Since it says adults too, we'll give it its due just to see. So this is sometime in 1981, Fact Tracked for the IBM PC or Microsoft DOS. Our first experiences with these games on Microsoft DOS really isn't the most dazzling and amazing. It's crazy to think, I think the first game we played was Donkey, that was released with Microsoft DOS and doesn't really do anything special. All right, what is your name? I'm Chrono. Chrono, do you want sounds? Yes, on an early IBM PC, that's what it sounds like. Oh man, this is it? We just want facts? I'll take division facts. This sounds like I'm taking a test. All right, that's it. That's enough of Fact Track. We're going to give it a fat 0. It's probably an excellent piece of software, but here we want the games. So after that, let's see what's next after Fact Track. Fact Track. We're moving on to the Apple II, and this is, all right, okay, this is Fantasyland 2041 AD. Oh man, this one's big. We have two different versions. I believe we got Apple II, yes, and the Atari home computer. So we'll check out the Apple II version first. This one has a lot behind it. This one's a very big game. Every now and then we come on the channel and a game comes up that you really can't just showcase for a few seconds. It's not a quick arcade game. This is one of those games. So we'll get into it starting with the artwork. Starting with the box. Fantasyland 2041 AD. You can already see it's getting role-playing-ish, at least fantasy-wise. And then there's the example of the 5 1/4 floppy disk. This game came with 6. That's right, 6 5 1/4 floppy disks. This was the biggest project that Crystalware has ever done. I believe John Bell is the developer, and this game is meant to be like the end-all of all adventure role-playing. They like shoved everything in up to this point. So if you consider every game we play that's adventure, role-playing, or a computer game, they're trying to do everything in this one game. It is massive. So there's an example of a screenshot. Not really much from the screenshot, but let's take a look at the manual and you'll see what I mean. The manual itself is very, very long. We're going to skim through a few of it, but Fantasyland 2041 AD, which is kind of funny that of all the games that we're going to see that talk about the future, it's 1997, it's the end of the world, or it's 2000, it's the end of the world. This game, it says the end of this is 2041, and we haven't even reached that. Of the live recording of this show, it's 2023. So we're almost there, but we are not at 2041 AD. So if we scroll through, you can see they worked very hard on the front. The manual looks slightly different than the box, but this originally came not on a box. It was in the plastic Ziploc bags. So Fantasyland 2041 AD by John Bell. Way to go, John. So this software, it's scrolling routines, and oh, this is like copyright. They're just saying everything is owned by Crystalware computer software. And they said that because this game was very, very large for the time. 6 5 1/4 floppy disks for one game is massive. The other thing that I've heard about this game is it's very, very buggy. because they put so much and push so much part of the game in here that there's lots of parts that don't really work well. Kind of akin to like a recent game that comes out and it's not complete yet, or it's not finalized. They seem to be doing that with a lot of new games nowadays, where the game comes out but it's really not done yet, and then they do updates or tweaks, and then oh, only 8 more years to go, yeah, to get to 2041. But nowadays, the games have the luxury of being able to correct themselves. Back then, you didn't. If you got the game originally and it had bugs, then you had to wait until they updated and then got the discs corrected. So that would be an example of Fantasyland 2041 AD. They had to make a lot of corrections, but it's still, what I've heard, is very, very buggy. All right, so as we scroll down, you can see the table of contents. This is a 40-page manual. It has a lot of info for it. Starting off with the Hall of Heroes. And this section breaks down what this story is. This game is a combination of Disneyland, like an attraction, Westworld, the original movie with Yul Brynner, and it's also a combination of all the other adventure, like Indiana Jones and Robin Hood and things of that nature. It's all these in one, because the point of the game is it's a role-playing experience, but it's action role-playing. It's not a text interface. You're a little character that moves around on the screen. And it's top-down, very similar to like something like Legend of Zelda. But this is 1981, way, way before that. When you play the game, you're going to Fantasyland, and Fantasyland is a theme park that is like a living theme park where it's in the future in 2041. So it simulates different worlds, and you go to the different worlds to do objectives, and it breaks it down here. So in the Hall of Heroes, that's where you start. That's how you pick your weapons and the character and so forth. There's not a lot of depth to the picking of who you are, but it's cool because they do this from a action viewpoint. It's a top-down viewpoint when you're selecting everything. It's not just a menu-based system. It's very different than that. Okay, so this goes through the story of how it works, how you're going to be experiencing like Dungeons and Dragons type experiences, and it's supposed to be simulating like robots are really acting out everything for you, but in the game you're supposed to, it's like simulating all these experiences for you at Fantasyland. And then after you pass all the exhibits, it's kind of like a museum of the exhibits of different things. So this is the character that they chose to choose for the story. It's Tisha. After looking at hundreds of exhibits of former heroes fighting vile monsters, she felt a little queasy in the stomach, yet uncomfortable, felt a growing sense of excitement and determination. They could no longer contain herself. They rushed to the great iron door at the back entrance of the hall, and there stood a wizard in a black velvet cape. She wrote out a check for $3 million, handed her sack of gold pieces, and opened the great door. As she quickly ran through, she knew there would be no turning back, because after you make your selection in the Hall of Heroes, you cannot go back to that place. So after you go to all the other exhibits, they have different places, and you can check out what you'll see. And you can see they have, what's the first one? Okay, yeah, the jungle, Queen of the Jungle is one of the exhibits. Thomas of Arabia, which is like Lawrence of Arabia exhibit. The Sir Alan and the Dragon, which is like a Knights of the Round Table. And then we have Michael of the Argos, which is you're on a ship, and you actually command a ship in this game and sail around in a Greek-themed setting. And then you have Sylvia of the Tari, which I believe is underwater. Yeah, diving. So you're underwater. And then you have Lady Joanne the Demon Slayer, which is the let's go to hell and destroy demons in hell is one of the other scenarios. So every single one of these scenarios, they have the story. They broke them down in the manual, but then they say what it is in the quest. In order to win this game, you have to make it through Congo Land, Arabia, medieval England, a sea voyage across the Mediterranean, a submarine fantasy in the Tari diving vessel, and reach the underworld. Depending on what answer when prompts, the game's going to ask us which goal. You'll be seeking either Guinevere or Lancelot. So the game gives you the selection. Are you rescuing a princess, or are you rescuing a guy? So you get to pick. Do you want to rescue a girl or a guy? You must secure that person who's been spirited away by the Prince of Darkness and arrive safely accompanied by them at the gates at the Hall of Heroes. So since you're interacting with different wandering groups and traders, the game allows you to create more parties of characters. So similar to like Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, you're not just playing as yourself, you're playing as other people, and you bring people on almost like as a joining a band or a war for your cause. And you can see over here on the left, they're giving you facts about the game. There's over 100 different types of terrain. You can buy and sell and use different parts of the terrain. Like, in other words, there's like a very rudimentary crafting in this game. And then if you're in a desert, like, for example, they give you, if you're in a desert and you see a whole lot of nothing for a long time, you'll need large quantities of food and supplies. So there's also survival elements in this game. There's also a time attack, or a time to attack and a time to flee. Some enemies you can take on, and some enemies you should run away from. And then they say that with a few exceptions, magical things are found in magical places. So there's also magic involved in this game. There's also animation sequences where you can watch through like cutscenes or animation things. Yeah, this is one of the most ambitious games of 1981. Kind of reminds me of the Galactic Saga that we saw. It's just way ahead of its time for what it wants to do. So anyway, after you leave the Hall of Heroes, and then it breaks down, well, when you leave the entrance to the Hall of Heroes, you can quickly turn to basic movement section and the spirit of the true adventure and plunge right in. We suggest this alternative. You may thoroughly study the manual, and yeah, you can see what the manual does. It's not really telling us specifics of what the game is. It's more making it into a story that you read. Lore heavy, basically. In any event, we hope you find this is the most exciting and challenging computer game you have ever played, and that it will be fun for you to play as it has been for us to write. Now, from me looking at the reviews and people that had seen this at the time, they were blown away. And from the people that reminisce, that had played this, they loved this experience. They said this was amazing to play, especially in 1981. So the next section of the manual is going through movements between the Atari 800. You can see that they're explaining how to move because you're going to be doing on land, using oars for a rowboat, diving underwater, when you're controlling another character, or if you're rowing a boat. So you can see they break down all the different controls, and especially whenever you go in the world where you're on a ship and you're sailing across the Mediterranean Sea. Then you have a submarine that you command. You have lots of different things. So then they break down also how to stay alive, and then the different commands you'll use on the keyboard. So if you play this on the Atari home computer, you get to use the Atari joystick, the one joystick, one button to move around. The Apple II, though, not so much. So you can see basic movements on the Apple II. Although Michael has done a superb job on the Atari version, I think true Apple-philiacs like myself will find the original no slouch with 300,000 worth of graphics alone and rapid disk space. There's no paddles required for Fantasyland. All basic movements are accompanied by using north, south, east, and west. So you just type in ESW, but it's not a text adventure game. You have a character that moves around the screen. And as an adventurer, you'll play many parts. On land, your symbol represents as a band of warriors can be moved around. The main land occupies a total of 420 high-res screens in the Apple II version. 420 screens. Now, of all the games we've played up to this point, the most screens I can imagine that we've seen is around 50 is the max. Because if you think of an adventure on the Atari 2600, the max screens that it had was, I think, less than 20, maybe 20 to 30. Don't quote me on that because we haven't played it for a while. But the most we've seen up to this point is around 50, maybe to 100. This game is 420 screens. Now, a lot of them they're kind of stretched out, but they want to make it really, really big, and that's what they try to accomplish in this game. So anyway, it breaks down all the different places now. Congo Land and what you'll see there. Arabian Adventure, what you'll see there. King Arthur, Olympus, Captain Nemo, Dante's Inferno, and you can read those sections to learn more about them when you get there. And then it also now breaks down the weapons and armor you'll have because it's still a role-playing game. It also breaks down the enemies: warriors, bears, wizards, and then all the stats and information there, and then all the treasures. There's all these treasures in the game you can find. So it's still like an adventure game, but it's blending adventure game and role-playing game all in the same experience. And then it has the rings of power that you have to find. And this allows you to unlock and go to different places in Fantasyland. Now, this last section is the end of the manual, but it's called The Great Mystery. As promised, toward the end of the year, we will be offering a $1,000 prize in each category, Apple and Atari, to the finest adventurer. To win this prize, you must solve the Great Mystery and beat out your competitors in treasure and courage. At the end of the game, if you make it, you'll be prompted to send your disc in if you wish to enter the contest. Do not try to make a copy to send in. It must be the original. At our plant, we have a huge scoreboard with a list of all the Fantasylanders and their achievements. The person to solve the mystery and score the highest will be awarded a trophy and receive $1,000 in cash. Remember, this does not go to the first person to solve the mystery, but to the highest scorer, who has the correct answer before December 1st, 1981. Before December 1st. We're running out of time. We're almost out of 1981. I don't know if we're going to do it. But now I want to know, did anybody do this? Did anybody send their disc in, and did Crystalware actually, did someone get $1,000 in cash in 1981? I would love to know. This mystery is unlike any of the others. It's not an anagram, nor is it found anywhere on the disc in basic or machine language. These discs are very protected. Please do not attempt to copy or catalog them. The contest is also being separately sponsored in the UK, and hopefully awards will be given in London toward the 1st of 1982. This will probably be the last great fantasy that I write. We have attempted to include all the thousands of suggestions we've received to make this the ultimate fantasy game. If there's any comments or suggestions or errors, please take into account the vastness of this undertaking. We hope you'll find this the most exciting and best adventure game you have ever played. And that's written by John Bell. So you can tell they spent a lot of time in this. And I'd also like to know, in the UK, did anyone get $1,000 cash or pounds back in 1981 or in 1982? Really fascinated to know. So that's the end of the manual. That just breaks down how crazy massive this game is. I mean, look at how many discs we got. We have the disc for Congo Land, Arabia, King Arthur, Dante's Inferno, Olympus, Captain Nemo. I can't imagine, there's no other game we've seen that has this many discs so far, or this massive of scale. So how do we taste it on the channel? Well, we'll do the best we can. Here we go. This is Fantasyland 2041 AD, released at some point in 1981, along with the Apple version. We're playing here on the Apple II. Oh, that's right. We got to go from here. I forgot we need to go into the Arabia disc, because if we do the other discs, then it won't work. Or do we still pick the wrong one? Oh, here, Arabia, there. So I have to make sure I select the correct disc to load into. All right, here we go. Fantasyland 2041 AD. Now, you obviously think about it. If it's 1981, if you have a game of this scope, it's not going to hit all the marks. There's a lot of bugs that are in the game, and the game is also almost too ambitious. But from what I've heard, the people that played it enjoyed it, loved it, couldn't believe of the experience they had in 1981. So we've already been playing a lot of games that are very big and very ambitious. So let's see. Here we go. So we're at the Hall of Heroes, and it asks, what's our goal? Do we want to rescue a princess, or do we want to rescue Lancelot? I'm guessing Guinevere is a princess. So we'll say we want to rescue a princess. And is this a new game, old game, or Magical Jump? Not familiar with Magical Jump. We'll do new game. And then, oh, here we go. Yeah, you got to insert the disc for Congo Land. So now we're already disc swapping. We haven't done it that much on the channel. So here we go. We switch out into Congo Land. Once we got Congo Land in as read-only, now we push any key, and here we go. I think it's going to let us go into Hall of Heroes, and then we make a selection of what weapons and armor we want. The game's meant to not be like a roguelike. It's not going to change every time. Welcome to the Hall of Heroes. But we already have high-res graphics from the beginning. It's a still image, but it's better than we've seen with other text only. All right, so proceed north. In this Apple version, we have no joystick, so I'm just pushing in to move north. That's me just tapping. You've received 5,000 in gold and are entering the Hall of Heroes. One moment, please. Oh man, the loading. I bet there's lots of loading for Fantasyland 2041. Yes, Ivan, can you believe this evening? We had a math game, which we got to breeze by that one, but then this is, we went from something so simple, and I would say we don't care as much about the educational, to something that's this big. And I would love to know if someone did this, finished it, and got cash for it. Okay, so the way it works is I'm moving, it's very weird controls, because I'm on the Apple I have to do west, or W to move west, in to move north, and as you move around, there's different objects. And if I do east, and then north, so if you saw in the manual, I think we hit C to check. There we go. So we check it, and it says this is a battle axe, tells us the weight and volume. I'm not going to keep moving around. So what you do is you move to select your weapons. So the first thing they're doing differently is it's not a menu based. You're not picking the menu like in Akalabeth or oh gosh, Dragon's Eye, all the other role-playing games we see. We're actually moving around and we look. See, this one's a harpooner. It's only it's very light. So we'll go just for sake of brevity. Let's go ahead and just get the battle axe. So we'll move down here, move south, and then check. And I think it's G to grab. No, or E, B. I want to be able to pick. Oh, that's right. So after you pick one up, then you can go to the next. There we go. So you push P, and then it asks how many you want to buy. It looks like it's laying around. I wonder why we don't buy it. Yes. All right, so here we go. This is how to buy things in Fantasyland 2041. We're just going to buy one harpooner, computing the weight. That's right. They're even calculating weight in this game. All right, so we got weapons and armor. So if we move north, west, north, and then welcome to Congo Land, the beginning of your fantasy. So the first thing you do in the Hall of Heroes is you just pick out all the weapons and armor. We did it really fast. And then we go to the first area. And the first area is technically, if story-wise, it's like a theme park. And it's a theme park in the future, so all this is fabricated. It's supposed to be like virtual reality, and that's what we're apparently moving around in. So as it loads up, let me go ahead and speed this up a little bit for us. Because every lane you go to has to take a while to load. There we go. And then now... Oh. No, wait, did it... Oh, hold on. I think it crashed on me. Because I did push the wrong one? No. Yes, it did. The whole game went down. Wait a second. So whenever I had played this before, I heard there were bugs, but I didn't know there was something that was going to totally crash the game on us. Man, so rough. Well, I guess we've had some luck with video games on the channel, but then we've had some games that don't work as well. When you play computer games back in 1981, majority of people don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole because of things like this. When you try to play computer games, there's a lot of risk that happens, break, the discs don't load, cassette tapes are corrupted. There's so many things that can happen, and that's why a lot of people don't hit on the computer side of it. All right, so here we go. We want Guinevere and new game again, and then we got to switch our disc to Congo Land. Switching to Congo Land, read only. Got it, and go. Let me do some fast forwarding now this time. And now we can go. So you go inside. One moment, please. Enter the Hall of Heroes. Pick the item you want, and I believe you can pick between weapons and armor and lots of different things. But once you leave the Hall of Heroes, you cannot go back. So whatever selections you make, it kind of that would be, I guess, the randomness of the game or the replay value. If you pick different items or weapons, that determines what kind of game experience you're going to have. And speed up again. And go there. All right, so let's move to the top, and we'll just check this one and purchase that one. Yeah, we'll buy one battle axe. Nice. So when you pick it up, it actually removes it from the screen, which is, again, a rarity. And then now we go into Congo Land. So again, I'm going to speed this up until it loads all the way for us. Wow, imagine waiting that long because you have 6 discs. You're going to be flipping from disc to disc to disc. Okay, so we're playing Fantasyland 2041 AD. Now we're in Congo Land, and you can see what they meant by 400-something screens. This is what they would refer to as the high-res screen. But you move your character around to the next area, and when you go up north, it continues to the next spot. And when you read the manual, it tells you what to do in Congo Land. What's the goal or what you're trying to accomplish. And after you finish Congo Land, then you move on to the next land, and you keep going to different exhibits, areas in the theme park. And after you finally get to the end, then you rescue the princess. And the game takes so many different formulas, though. So Congo Land is taking place in a jungle, and I'm moving around from a top-down view. But then you have some of the virtual reality areas like... Oh, now I'm already starving. Oh, no, the food's come back to haunt us. You'll get some areas where you're in a boat, and you have to navigate and control the boat, and even worry about the wind and how the wind affects your boat. So it is... Am I already starving and dead? Okay, we'll go ahead and call that the end of the Apple II version, because there is so much more we can go into to discuss Fantasyland 2041. It is another one of those titles I had no idea existed until starting the channel. So with that, for a game this ambitious and a game that's taking lots of different elements that I would say sometimes don't hit the mark, and it does have bugs. So I'm not going to say it's the best game you could say you could play at the time. It is still one of the best. I'm going to say 4 stars for sure for Fantasyland 2041. Because of the 6 discs and the ambition, I really want to push it higher up, but because of how many problems it does have and how it's a little tricky to navigate, it's almost like it's doing a little too much. I'll do 4 stars, but still an incredible game for the time. And then if we wanted to, we can do the Atari. This is the Atari home computer version of Fantasyland 2041. And the last time I tried this one, I couldn't get it to work. So same manual, but if you see again, there's 6 discs. You need 6 discs to play this game. It's ridiculous. So at some point in 1981, we had Fantasyland 2041 for the Atari 8-bit. I don't believe we can get very far on this one. Not that we were going to anyway, because the game's crazy long. It's like when we played Galactic Saga. How do you get a quick taste or a review of a game that can take months and months to finish? Oh, there we go. So the Hall of Heroes of what it looks like on the Atari home computer. Similar ditty than we heard before. All right, so again, what are we rescuing? We're going to rescue Guinevere, and we want a new game. And there's something going on with new games. So every time I try a new game, it does not work. I have no idea why new game does not work. And to do an old game, we have nothing saved, so we can't do an old game. So if I try to escape out, it says insert disc 2. I'm like, okay, let's put disc 2 in. That's right here. And after disc 2 is in, we hit return on our keyboard. And what happens next? You never know. Yeah, think about it. 1981, of all the games we played up to this point, there is no other game I can think of that is using this much storage space. We played, well, maybe if you consider, at least disc-wise, because we have cartridge-based games running on ROM. Hey, wait, it did something. No way, I'm in. Nice. So here's the graphics for the Atari home computer of Fantasyland 2041. I wonder what area we're in, but you can see I can use the Atari joystick, and I'm moving the character around. I don't have to use north, south, east, and west. And what happens if I go over here to this side? It says welcome. Can I push the button to go in? Oh, I bet I have to use the command, right? Let's do check. No, check doesn't work. What about... So the manual gives us commands you can do to, the joystick only works to move your character around, but check it out. This one is scrolling. No way. It's scrolling the screen across as we're playing it. Uh-oh, we're starving. We have lost a hunter. So we are not just controlling one person. I think we have a party of characters, at least in this one. But, man, that's ambitious. And to be able to play with a joystick, oh man, it's so cool. We've lost a knight. So whenever you begin the game in Hall of Heroes, you pick all these things out of how you want to begin the quest, but it's huge on story. Man, our massive video game playing from the beginning, it seems like starving's a theme. If we get into a game that's too big, we need to buy food or something. Oh, Mike Potter, okay. Synapse Software later. Oh, we'll have to check those out. Or we'll be sure to check those out. All right, so for this one, I'm going to do 4 stars again. Something inside me really wants to rate this higher. Like, it's one of the best games you could play. And because we can just get a taste of it, I can't rate it higher than that because I don't know for sure because of what I heard with the bugs. But there's been a lot of people, at least for reviews on Atari Mania and Atari Age, that refer back to this game fondly and say Fantasyland 2041 is one of the best games they would have played. But is it the best game that we've seen up to this point? It's ambitious, but we'll go for 4 stars for both the Apple II and the Atari home computer version. An excellent game for 1981. And that's Fantasyland 2041. Let's see where we're going next. Oh, man. All right, we're back on the VIC-20. This is Fire Trek. We got no other artwork for Fire Trek. We're just going to pop it and play. At some point in 1981, we got Fire Trek by FM Club. Oh, published by Vicsoft. And we're assailed with some beautiful music of 1981. Or what your VIC-20 would have sounded like. Okay, so they're giving us commands of how to play. How do we play Fire Trek? Open and close the screen, move left, right, up, and down. And spacebar is fire. Do we understand? Yeah, we'll just say yes and pretend we understand. Okay, so we're in the game. Looks like Fire Trek is menu-based. And I can move my joystick. Oh, no, I don't have a joystick. This is keyboard only. It sounds like we're at an emergency room and about to go under with the beeping in the background. Okay, so it looks like we need to get our menu screen up, and we're attacked, so now I can move the commands they said and then fire. Alright, so if you look at the bottom left, our spaceship is responding to where I move it, and then if I move over these dots and attack, it hits them and blows them away. So I'm hitting purple circles. I don't know if that's my goal, but I'll go for it, Fire Trek. So I'm moving around the screen with the commands they gave me, and then hitting spacebar on the screen, but I'm still confused. What is Fire Trek? What's the threat? I see I got energy and distance. And this is one of the few games we've seen that is giving us commands for the keyboard controls on the screen while we're playing. Look, it says left, right, up, and down. And, okay, I'm moving my ship around, but... So, the movement controls is changing where my ship's pointing. So you can see I'm turning the ship icon in the bottom left corner, but... Okay, and it says we're attacked again, and now I go back again, and I'm blowing up the circles, I guess? This isn't the first time we've been confused on Chronologically Gaming, and it won't be the last. So, Fire Trek, oh, game over. Do we want to try again? Let's say no. Well, we didn't have the manual, so right off the bat, if you had a VIC-20 and this was the game you had, you would kind of figure it out, but I don't get why we're in control of a spaceship and we can move around, but there's not like a space field. Up to this point, we've already seen first-person space combat games, and it made me feel like we were supposed to be playing that, but it didn't have that feeling. So I'd say this is a bad game, considering the ones we played. It's not really down in like 1.5. I'll say 2 stars. So Fire Trek gets a 2-star. It is the best of the bad. All right, so with that, we're going all over the place this evening. Let's see what's next after Fire Trek. After that, we are back on the Atari home computer, and this is Firebird. Let's take a look at Firebird and see what it's all about. Starting with the front of the box. Firebird. Okay, Bally Software. Nasir Gabelli got his company up and named it after himself, which what you should do. Looks like we're doing a fireman simulation game. Or wait, no, we're a pig putting out fires with a actual Firebird. Okay, so it's an 8K ROM cartridge for this one, and example of, oh, and on disc, so the 5 1/4 floppy disk, so either disc or cartridge for Firebird by Gabelli Software. And we got a manual for this one too. Here you go. Oh my gosh, there's a story to Firebird. As if our fearless hero Piggo, the Firebird... I can't even read it with a straight face. Piggo the firefighter didn't have troubles enough. Now a Firebird races through the sky, leaving behind a trail of fire, setting the buildings and town ablaze. You must help Piggo put out the blazing rooms and save the hapless occupants as they leap for safety. So if you tuned into the show, we played one other fire rescue game for the Commodore PET back in the 70s. And it was just essentially you fly a plane over and drop water onto buildings that are on fire. So I wanted to see what they do for play mechanics for Firebird. So how do you play? Break causes the game to pause. Reset resets the entire game. So this is the buttons you'd push on your Atari home computer. The object of the game is to quench the fires, and failing that, to save the victims leaping from the burning rooms. There's no levels. As the game progresses, Firebird just goes faster and faster. To quench the flames, you must position Piggo just to the left of the fire and press the joystick button. To save a falling victim, position Piggo just to the left of the victim, close enough to touch him. Piggo will grab him automatically, take him to the top of the ladder where the circling helicopter can pick him up. The helicopter will return with a replacement for the lost room and place it where it's needed most. If you position Piggo I've never heard of a mascot and or character called Piggo. Piggo the pig. All right, so it's basically we're putting out fires and saving victims. The game's over when you run out of firefighting pigs or when 2 or more columns completely burn up to the ground. If you manage to save the bottom row so that the bottom row remains, you get 5,000 bonus points. The game restarts. So there's our point score, and then a quick ad. Other products from Gabelli. I believe this is one of the first games we played made by Gabelli software. We've seen games on the Apple II that Nasir Gabelli programmed, but Gabelli software, this must be one of the first. And you can see how simple the manual is. This, I wouldn't even call it a manual. It's like the inside flap of the disc. So it looks like Gabelli software has Match Racer, Pathfinder, Andromeda, Good Codes Cavern, Embargo, and Firebird. Okay, a 4K ROM cartridge. We're going to have both disc and ROM. All right, so for versions, we have... Okay, we got the disc and the ROM. We're going to go for disc for Firebird. Released at some point in 1981 by Gabelli software. And I'm really hoping this is programmed with the Atari joystick. It better be. All right, there we go. We're in. This is Firebird with a helicopter flying overhead, I guess. And I'm not controlling anything. This is just... that was the Firebird that whizzed by. This is just the attract mode. So Gabelli's Firebird's going for the let's play an arcade game at home that never existed. There is no Firebird in the arcade. All right, so here we go. Let's push start on our Atari home computer, and we're in. I can use the Atari joystick, move left and right and up and down. I guess I'm Piggo. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's cool. So whenever you push the button on the Atari controller, that's you putting out the fires. And I guess this is how it starts. The Firebird comes by, and you just put out the fires until it gets crazier and crazier as it goes. Play control feels really easy, and it works really well. So no complaints with play control. Holding an Atari controller, playing an Atari computer game is awesome. I wish every one of them did it this way. Looks like I don't have any... It's just crazy going from a game so complex like Fantasy 2041 and then playing this, which is just, let's just move around, put out the fires. It feels more relaxing. As relaxing as putting out a fire could be. It's crazy they made the story with a pig called Piggo, because this easily could have been a guy. If you didn't have the manual, you wouldn't know that it was a pig that you're playing. You can't tell. We're still in what they call as the second generation of home consoles right now. Uh-oh. Oh, I rescued someone. Yes. You put it at the top of the tower, and then they go away on the helicopter. Nice, I get it. But we're in they call it the second generation of home consoles, and so we're right in between like the second and third generation. Oh no, catch! Oh, I didn't catch him. Let's see if we can catch this guy. Oh, if he's on the ladder, he falls through, but you have to be left of him. They told us, yeah, if he's on the ladder, he falls through, but you have to be left of him to catch him. We already got a game over, darn. But as we're in between these two generations of consoles, the computer world is kind of bridging the gap. This computer is going to be what it will turn into the Atari 5200. And so we're seeing the graphics and sound kind of be different from the other consoles, like the Atari 2600 started, or the Fairchild, which we've kind of seen that one already die. We already saw the last game for it. All right, let's see if I can rescue someone. I got to be on the left side to pick them up when they fall down. This does feel like I'm playing a long-lost arcade game that should have been in the arcades. It's simple in design, single screen. It's not trying to do anything fancy like multiple levels. It doesn't give me the draw of let's see what's next. You know, like what's the next screen, like it did with Scramble or Super Cobra. It feels like I'm playing an older classic arcade game. It doesn't give me vibes like a Crazy Climber or anything like that, but it's kind of a formula we haven't seen. Like it's like a tile-based moving a person on a ladder. Only the fire... Let's see if we let the fire burn. If I don't put the fire out, what happens? Oh, I didn't catch him. Okay, so let me try it again. Oh, okay, I must have my placement wrong. How do I get under... I see now. You catch it on your arm is sticking out. So if you have to catch him on the side the pig's arm is, and that's how you pick him up. I see. Nice try, Gabelli software. Okay, so let's just keep the fire going. Let it burn, and then let's pick him up. There it is, and then get to the top. And then again, catch it. Let's let the helicopter pick it up. Okay, yep, we got it. Now I see how to do it. Can I put 2 at the top? No, I gotta do 1 at a time. Okay, so yeah, if you keep things going, you can kind of see the 2 different mechanics at play here. You have putting out fires, which they're most likely going to get faster and faster. And then the mechanic of picking up people that are falling out, making sure it goes on the right side, put them at the top of the ladder, and then repeat. Oh, we still got another one. There you go. Fun idea. And yeah, it keeps burning down, so you just keep playing, catching. Oh, nope. Oh, I didn't save that one. All right, well, that was Firebird. Very, very fun for the Atari home computer. Is it average? I'd actually say it's around, I'd say slightly above average, because of all the other games we played up to this point, it's still doing something different, and it's fun, but it is simple. So 3 stars would be like a perfectly average game. I'd say 3 or 3.5. Depending on the other home computers we played, you have 2 kinds of people at this time. You have the arcade people that want to play something quick, Twitch based, and then you also have the people that want to sit down and play something really long, like an adventure game. So for this on the computer, I can imagine the arcade people loving it, but it's not something that would really draw in the adventure people. I'll still say 3.5 stars for Firebird. It plays really well, it's really fun, and it is an above average game. All right, so after Firebird, let's see what's next. What game are we playing after Firebird? All right, we're going to England, and this is the Sinclair ZX81. Flight simulation? You gotta be kidding me. There's no way the ZX81 has flight simulation. Let's take a look at the box. We got both in the UK and in German for 2 different ones, and that's it for artwork. All right, we're just gonna pop it and play without a manual. Flight simulation for the ZX81. Sometime in 1981. I don't know how this is gonna work with playing without a manual. Here we go. So to boot it up, we first push R on our keyboard. There's our ZX81 keyboard. And then after we hit R for run, then we do new line, and we're in Scion Computers Flight Simulation. Do you want just the final approach? Okay, so you can just do the landing. That's nice. We'll just say no. Full feature. Yes, we want to do the full flight simulation experience for the ZX81. This is the very first flight simulation game we played in England. So of all the games we played in England, we haven't seen this yet. And so obviously for the ZX81, this is the very first flight simulation we ever played. Do you want to include wind effects? Sure. Yeah, let's do that. Wind speed 3 knots from 271 degrees. Press any key except brake. How in the world are they going to do a flight simulation game? I don't believe it. So it is, it's giving us the dash like we've seen with them. By the way, flight simulation games aren't super common. It's 1981. We've only seen, I believe, only 2 or 3 others for home computer games. And obviously there's no flight simulation games that have been on consoles. So for the first impression, they give us the dashboard like we'd expect, but how do you simulate flight with that? It's all black and white. The ZX81 is all black and white. And it doesn't even use joystick. I have to move the, I'm going to guess it's one of the controls. Oh my gosh. Look at that. That's how you would fly. So whenever you play, wow, that's me turning to the side. That's crazy. And that's me turning back. Oh my gosh. So there you go. That's a flight simulator game for the ZX81 in 1981. Man, some hardcore flight simulation enthusiast or someone that wants to fly a plane. Can you imagine that? Black and white. Look at this. This is turning the ship on a black and white computer that's about the size of a calculator in England. All right, there you go. That was our taste of flight simulation. I just can't believe it. I thought it was going to be only text, but it had graphics? No way. All right, so for that, of all the games we played for the time, if you're really into flight simulation, it worked. And for England to have a game that you could play that's giving you that sensation with graphics is incredible. Yes, we had played the original Sublogic one, yes, for the Atari home computer. And that was 1979, I believe. So this one is it's rough around the edges, but it does get the job done. For all other games that you could play that are like this, I'm actually amazed they had graphics. So I'm gonna say I don't want to say it's average. That's pretty cool that they kind of were able to incorporate that you were flying. Blows me away. Okay, so we'll still say 3.5 stars above average for flight simulation. It's still black and white, and it's still, you can see, pretty choppy. So 3.5 stars for flight simulation on the ZX81. Let's see where we're going next and what's happening next. All right, this is the Bally Astrocade. The home computer in the bottom left corner with analog controller and trigger for the joystick. And this is football, which we saw on Electronic Games, the magazine we saw at the very end of all our releases in 1981. And they said this was the best sports game of 1981. I was wanting to see what they mean by that. So we're going to check it out and see what it's like, starting with the front of the box, Bally Videocade cartridge football. Complete a pass up the middle for a first down. 8 offensive play options, including the end run, screen pass, long bomb, short or long passes up the middle, and some elegant razzle-dazzle. Offensive players have direct control of the cornerbacks. The computer controls the rest. Up to 4 players. Whoa, okay, so a 4-player football game at home. That's pretty cool. Anything else? We got the cartridge, and I believe, yeah, that is it. And we have a manual, too. Bally Videocade, football. So what Electronic Games says is the best sports game of 1981. So what do? You insert your cartridge into the Bally Professional Arcade. Press reset and then push number 1 for 2-player, 2 to play a 4-player football game. No way. And it explains how it works. We can play a 2-player game or a 4-player. You can control different patterns of flicker on the split end for the offense and defense. And so for a 4-player game, players 1 and 2 control the offense, and players 3 and 4 control the court. Okay, so it has you switch back and forth between the two. But 4 players at once, that's awesome. That's right. Wasn't Razzle Dazzle what they said on NBA Jam? Razzle Dazzle. The game consists of 2 4-minute halves. In the first half, the team of player 1 will be on offense, and on the 20-yard line, the second half will begin when the team of player 2 has the offense. So plays are selected by moving the joystick when the yellow cursor is in front of the play desired. The first play you select will be the play used. If no play selected, the scoreboard will appear and the offense must press the trigger to advance to the play selection again. Plays are selected by the offense only. So only offense gets plays. Defense either covers the receivers or blitzes the quarterback with the cornerbacks. The quarterback with the cornerbacks. After the play has been selected, the cursor has completed its cycle, the playing field will be displayed on the screen. How do you pass? The ball may be snapped by moving the joystick. Okay, so you just move the joystick to snap. The quarterback may be controlled by the joystick, and the pass is thrown by the trigger. So we can show you again the picture of the controller for the Bally Astrocade. It has a trigger with a knob at the top, and the knob has a little swivel. That's analog control. That's how you control the quote-unquote joystick. The knob of the hand position the quarterback's arm, just as it does with the arm of the cowboy in gunfight. The ball can be thrown over the 5 offensive and defensive linemen and linebacker, but not over the cornerbacks. Once the pass is thrown, the offensive gains control of the ends by using the joystick. The ball carrier is considered tackled when he comes into contact with any other player on the field. The linebacker, Mad Dog, waits at random length of time and then rushes to wherever the ball is. So you can also punt and then scoring, same scoring for football, obviously. Programmed by Bob Ogden. Ogden? Way to go, Bob. Ricky J. Speece and Scott Norris. So way to go, Ricky and Scott. All right, that was the manual. We may have to go back to it because this is going to be interesting. Here we go. Let's play some football on the Bally Astrocade, released at some point in 1981. Is it the best sports game? We'll see. All right, so I'm going to plug in 2 controllers. So let's start off first. I got to go into our devices and add a joystick and reset. So we're going to play this with 2 players because I'm guessing we can't play against the computer. It didn't say anything in the manual. Okay, so now we got 2 controllers plugged into our Bally Astrocade, and let's do a 2-player game. So we push number... Wow, that sounds pretty good. Oh, and they got the crowd too. No way. Okay, so it went right into the game. We didn't have options on teams. It's just like you're playing. Let's go. Okay, so this is what they meant by plays. I'm guessing player 1, let's do a long middle pass. and then we push the trigger. Oh, weird. Okay, so the way you do plays, the yellow cursor is just moving. And I guess if you have someone else with you, you don't want them to know what play you have. So the yellow cursor is moving, and then the whoever's on offense just pushes or triggers in whenever it gets the yellow cursor moves down. So I didn't control that. It just moves. You push the button, and then I guess it'll make sure the other person doesn't know what play you have. And then when they do the trigger, oh, I thought it. Let's try it again. So it's going to do it again. It's scrolling through. I do the trigger. Maybe it's the trigger for the other controller I have plugged in. All right, so try it again. Oh, that's weird. So I'm using the trigger button, but I'm maybe doing something wrong. I want to do a long middle pass. Or holding the trigger in, maybe? To get my play to go? Maybe it's the wrong button. Push the trigger now. Yeah, it's going to continue to move that cursor on the left side. When you select your play, it's just it's like it's not registering, maybe? Because it said it's going to continue to loop if it doesn't register. Weird. Yeah, the trigger, I'm pushing the trigger, but I'm not able to get to the game. Slant in pass, long middle pass. Crossing pass, line side pass. Oh, wait, were you supposed to... Oh, you had to move the joystick. That's right. Okay, so you have to move the joystick. Wow, listen to the crowd. That's the best sounding sports crowd of any game we played with at this point. At least you got me there. All right, so to hike the ball, you move the joystick. All right, we're in. Throw it. All right, if you missed it, the quarterback was on the left side. He had the ball, and when he threw it, he just threw it to the end, and no one caught the ball. So let's try again. Long middle pass. Go. Long middle pass. Come on. And then we go back to the title screen. Okay, yeah, that's how it was. You have to use the joystick and the trigger. All right, here we go. Long middle pass. So you move the joystick and throw it. No, intercepted. So now the other person, yeah, the second player has the controller, and they're moving. Yep, they're running. They're going. Intercepted, and then touchdown on the other side. So I had to use two controllers at the same time. It's really, really small sprites, but it's giving you more of the feeling of playing football from this top-down view. All right, so we're in, looks like, yeah, 0 to 7. So which... Oh, it's now back to the first player who's on offense, and then we'll do it again. The cursor always moves all the way to the end until it's time. Yep, that's all I needed to do was the joystick and then the pass. So here we go, trying to get over and go. So whatever selection you make is what pass is going to happen, basically. So let's try again. I want to do long middle. It was throwing the ball the other direction for some reason. I'm not sure why. Razzle dazzle. Go. No, it intercepted again. So it did the pass, the play I wanted to, and now I'm playing as the other controller, moving it across after the interception and touchdown. So of all the sports games we played and the two-player games, I would say there's other fun two-player sports games to play besides this one, but this one is the best football game we played so far. All right, so let's try again. I want to do, let's do a crossing pass. And then I guess you have to do it sneakily if someone else is in the room with you. Listen to that crowd. That's awesome. All right, so going again. Crossing pass. Is it going to work now? Oh, okay, went the wrong way. All right, so you have to know where each pass is going to throw, because I don't have no control over that. It's whatever play you say. All right, slant, in pass, long, middle, crossing, and then sideline. Okay, there we go. Let's try a sideline pass. If this was my first time playing it in 1981, I'd be trying this out. They're not incorporating every player on the field, but it's more than usual, and it's not just X's and O's. Okay, razzle dazzle. I have no idea what that's going to do. Razzle dazzle. So picking that pass. and should go right into the play, right? Yeah, okay, here we go. Let's see what Razzle Dazzle does. Hike it, and let's try running. What happens if I run? Did I run? Oh, I ran out of bounds that time. So interesting mechanic of how you can play with two people in the room at the same time. How you can pick the play you want. Whoever's on offense is the only one picking the play. Razzle Dazzle. And then whenever it's timed, it's also easier because there's no one playing as the second controller. So whenever I hike it and then toss it, oh, that was Razzle Dazzle. That wasn't. I didn't see any Razzle Dazzle there. All right, so I kind of see what they're saying about this being a very good sports game. Of all the other sports or football games, this one's the best football game we played up to this point. Is it the best sports game? I wouldn't say it's the best sports game we played up to this point. It is very, very good, though. So of all the games we played up to this point, it's definitely up there. Not like the best. I'm going to say 4.5 stars, though, from considering the other sports games and football games. It is one of the best you could play of all the other games up to this point. The only way you really can get in this realm is if it's like across everything, you know, like across consoles, computers, handhelds. Everything is a better experience whenever you're playing this game compared to the others. And whenever we consider, like, we played Escape last time on the channel, which is a handheld that included stealth elements, it was awesome. So the handhelds kind of is in a different realm because if we base the handhelds on everything else, they're always going to be behind compared to all other video games. So it's a tricky thing, but we only want to give this range of the 4.5, 5 if it's one of the best video games of all the video games up to this point you could play. All right, so there you go, an excellent sports game. There's football for the Bally Astrocade. And with that, we've reached the end of our evening this time. We got one other football game that was released at some point in 1981 that we'll check out, and then continue playing every other game released at some point in 1981. And for all the people watching on YouTube and Twitch, so thankful you can tune in. We're seeing the video game industry as never seen before. All these games in order of release, seeing this slow drip of creativity and technology all coming together. It's awesome. So until then, we will catch you next time. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we miss any games along the way. This video would not be possible without RetroArch and Launchbox. Please tell your friends there's some crazy guy out there trying to play every single video game. You can always check out Chronologically Gaming on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We will catch you next time.